Good evening, everyone. We'll start today's meeting with acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Red River Métis. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities, including the national government of the Red River Métis, in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. We have no additions or amendments to today's meeting, so there's a motion by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Sticalo, that council accepts the regular meeting agenda as presented. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Moved by Councillor Sobring and seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, that council waives in the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meetings, and that's the regular council meeting of April the 27th and our special council meeting of May the 4th. Any issues, comments, questions about anything in those two meeting minute packages? No? All in favor? Anyone opposed? It's carried as well. Thank you. We'll go straight to the consent agenda. We've got a couple of different things to go over on action items in terms of the outstanding water accounts. We have two accounts added to taxes. Roll 0276600, $386.03. Previous tenant did not pay the final bill. And roll number 0334400, $166.57. And the owner did not pay the final water bill. We have a couple of proclamations today. We'll start with the Moosehide campaign. I think that's Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas the Moosehide campaign is an Indigenous-led grassroots movement of men, boys, and all Canadians standing up to end violence against women, children, and all those along the gender continuum. And whereas the Moosehide campaign was founded along the Highway of Tears in British Columbia in response to the injustices and violence faced by many women and children in Canada, particularly those who are Indigenous. And whereas intimate partner violence is at epidemic proportions across Canada, with more than 4 in 10 women having experienced it in their lifetime. And this reality is worse for Indigenous women, who are twice as likely to experience violence from their current or former partners. And whereas the Moosehide campaign has distributed more than 8 million Moosehide pins, which spark conversations about violence against women, children, and all those along the gender continuum. And whereas wearing the Moosehide pin demonstrates a commitment to honor, respect, and protect the women and children in your life, end gender-based violence, and take meaningful action towards reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. And whereas participating in the Moosehide campaign is a concrete action for all citizens to address the legacies of colonization, residential schools, and the reality of more than 1,200 missing or murdered women in Canada. And whereas engagement with the Moosehide campaign aligns with the United Nations Declaration of the Right of Indigenous Peoples, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action, and the calls for justice of the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim May 14th, 2026 as Moosehide Campaign Day.
Thank you, Councillor Ray. We have one other proclamation today, and that is Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. So whereas the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia is recognized annually on May 17th to draw attention to the 2SLGBTQIA and plus community and the discrimination and prejudice that is often directed at its members. And whereas the City of Dauphin embraces diversity and values the 2SLGBTQIA plus community and declares that homophobia, transphobia, and biphobia are not welcome in our community. And whereas the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia is a day to continue our collective journey towards cultivating a society that ensures justice and protection for all. And whereas May 17th is a day to speak out against the phobias affecting lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, two-spirit, intersex communities, and all people with diverse sexual orientations, gender identities, and expressions or characteristics. And whereas in a fair and just world, no one shall be excluded, ostracized, or left behind. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim May 17th as International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia. Signed by Mayor Bozyak.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bellemare. We've got a couple of other items under the consent agenda. They're filing items. The Growing Manitoba Ag Newsletter, the Prairie Mountain Health, Health Plus Newsletter, Parkland Chamber of Commerce, Chamber Matters, the Intermountain Watershed District Insight Newsletter for January to March of this year, and then a news release from the provincial government indicating Manitoba Water Services Board moves to Manitoba Municipal and Northern Relations. And so therefore, there's a motion by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Stakalo. Be resolved that all items listed and read under item 5, the consent agenda, be approved and form part of these minutes. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that motion is carried. Next item is a motion by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Be resolved the council accepts the corporate report for today's meeting from the Deputy City Manager. So Lisa, do you have any highlights or things you wanted to update us on that's in your report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bozyak. We've been putting in a lot of effort on the public safety front. And so I just wanted to provide a little bit of an update in relation to public safety. Through the month of April, I met with local business owners, members of council, and provincial representatives to better understand the evolving challenges in the downtown. These conversations reinforce the need for a balanced approach, one that supports vulnerable individuals while also restoring a sense of safety and confidence for businesses, residents, and visitors. On March 27th, we received notice of $200,000 in funding from the province of Manitoba through Manitoba Justice to support public safety initiatives in Dauphin. And we will be putting these funds to good use. And we will be releasing an RFP tomorrow for private security services to provide patrols and de-escalation in our downtown area as part of a 6-month downtown safety pilot. I've also been working closely with the RCMP, and through these discussions, the Dauphin Detachment has committed to increasing foot patrols and overall visibility in our downtown core, and this includes targeted patrols, proactive engagement with businesses and community facilities like Dauphin Rec Services, and the use of overtime resources to enhance evening presence. So we are listening and we are working to support safety and well-being in our community. Thank you.
Any questions for Lisa or anyone want to have any comments about anything that was in Lisa's report? No? Good. Then call for the question. All in favor of accepting? Anyone opposed? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Stakalo. Be resolved that Council, having reviewed the finance accounts, approve and authorize the following. We had 82 checks in the recent run, totaling $2,415,235.81. There were 3 EFT transactions totaling $17,735.32. No voided checks in the current or past range, and no other electronic payments. Any questions or comments on anything in the financial reports? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Daly, that we accept the engineering staff report from the building inspector for the month of April. Any questions or comments regarding the report from the building inspector? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Stakalo, seconded by Councillor Bellemare, the protective services report from the animal services officer for the month of April is on the table. Any questions or comments regarding that report? Councillor Bellemare?
Just a question. So there were some animal welfare checks on there. So animal welfare would be things like dogs left on a leash too long, too many pets in a house. You have concern about the well-being of an animal in a certain location. Is that correct?
That's correct. We sometimes have concerns about tethering for a prolonged period of time. So as you are aware, we passed an animal services bylaw update in 2024 that reduced the number of hours that a dog can be tethered under the bylaw. We have also dealt with some animal hoarding issues that involved the provincial APO to assist with us. and that involved some animal welfare concerns regarding the hoarding of rabbits and the conditions that they were kept in.
Any other questions? All in favor? Anyone opposed? That motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that we accept as information minutes from the Intermountain Watershed District meeting, their regular board meeting of March the 12th. Any questions or comments about this report? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin and seconded by Councillor Sobring. Whereas resolutions adopted by the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, or AMM, serve as an important advocacy tool to communicate municipal priorities and concerns to provincial and federal governments on behalf of Manitoba municipalities, be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated May the 6th from the AMM outlining the official responses received from provincial and federal government departments and agencies regarding the 2025 AMM resolutions. Further be resolved that Council acknowledges the importance of ongoing advocacy through the AMM resolution process and encourages continued follow-up on matters of municipal significance affecting the City of Dauphin and Manitoba municipalities generally. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Whereas the province has identified community safety and downtown revitalization as key priorities through its Safer Neighborhoods, Safer Downtown public safety strategy, which supports balanced approaches focused on prevention, community partnerships, and crime reduction initiatives. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information a province's news release dated April the 22nd of this year entitled Manitoba Government Invests $1.1 million in new public safety funding for municipalities to make communities safer, which identifies the City of Dauphin as a recipient of $200,000 in provincial public safety funding to support initiatives intended to enhance community safety and security. Further be resolved that Council confirms the intention to utilize the $200,000 grant to support the implementation of a 6-month downtown safety pilot project dedicated to safety and security, or with dedicated safety and security personnel within Dauphin's downtown, with a focus on enhanced visibility, deterrence, early intervention, de-escalation, and overall community safety through a proactive community-based approach. Questions or comments? I'd just like to commend Lisa and other staff at the city for interpreting that process, and also just to commend the province for redistributing some, I think, surplus funds to this important project. I know we, along with a few other municipalities in the project, are the recipients, so I hope that program goes very well for us. Next item is a motion by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Daly. Whereas Council adopted resolution number 2026-238 at its April 27th, 2026 regular meeting, awarding the contract for the 2026 road improvement program to Maple Leaf Construction in the amount of $963,099.60, pending approval of the 2026 financial plan. And whereas subsequent review determined that a compliant proposal submitted by Messiton Construction prior to the closing deadline had not been identified during the initial evaluation process due to the submission having been automatically routed to a separate email quarantine folder. And whereas administration has confirmed that Messiton Construction submitted the lowest compliant bid in the amount of $732,841.91, and that no formal contract had yet been executed with Maple Leaf Construction. And whereas Section 139(1) of the Municipal Act requires that written notice of motion be provided at one regular meeting prior to reconsideration of a previously adopted resolution, be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memo from the Deputy City Manager recommending reconsideration of resolution number 2026-238 respecting the award of the 2026 road improvement program contract, and further be resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and approves a notice of motion to reconsider the resolution at a subsequent regular meeting of Council in accordance with Section 131.1 of the Municipal Act. Daryl or Lisa, do you want to shed additional light on this for council?
I think just that I guess we've learned through this experience that we need to tighten our procedures and check a quarantine folder, which unbeknownst to us was a thing. We got a call from Messyton following the last council meeting asking why the contract was awarded to another bidder, and they indicated that they had submitted a proposal. And our director of public works checked the submissions folder, checked the junk folders. There was nothing there, but our ICT manager alerted us to a quarantine folder that, unbeknownst to us, the email had been for some reason automatically routed. It was a compliant bid and it was submitted by the deadline, so we are reconsidering that decision that was made at the previous council meeting, and there had been no contract signed yet with Maple Leaf.
Thank you. I'd like to also commend Daryl and you, Lisa, and Charlotte for doing the appropriate follow-up immediately, and it looks like saving us a considerable amount of money in our budget and getting the entire work project being done this summer. So good work, Daryl and Lisa and staff. All in favor of this? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin and seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas public notice of the proposed 2026 financial plan was duly given in accordance with the requirements of the Municipal Act, and council held a public hearing to receive comments and representations from the public. And whereas no formal objections to the plan were received, be resolved that council approves the 2026 financial plan as presented. Further be resolved that council authorizes the mayor and the city manager to sign and seal the plan and forward it, together with bylaw number 09/2026, the 2026 tax levy, upon third reading, to Manitoba Municipal and Northern Relations. Questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be it resolved that bylaw 09/2026, being a bylaw of the city to set the 2026 tax levy, be now read a second time. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. And then the final, moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be resolved that bylaw 09/2026, the bylaw of the City of Dauphin to set the 2026 tax levy, be now read a third time, signed and sealed by the mayor and deputy city manager. And because this is a third reading bylaw, we have to have a recorded vote. So we're on the table. Councillor Sobering, Deputy Mayor Loughlin, yes. Stakilo, Bellemare, wait. Unanimous support, because I'm in favor as well. Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be resolved that council accepts as information the following invitation, and that's from the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, the 2026 Parkland District meetings to be held on June the 18th. Further be resolved that any expenses related to council and senior management attending be covered by the city. Questions or comments? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts the following community event invitation, and that's from the Dauphin Friendship Center, their Moosehide Campaign Day Walk on May the 14th. Any questions or comments regarding this? I know a couple of councillors are attending. I know some of us are also attending an event in Brandon that day. So those that are able to stay in town and attend, hope it's a great day for that. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That motion is carried. And the council reports are next. Where do we start today, Sean? Let's go over here with Deputy Mayor Loughlin.
Sure. Thanks very much, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'm on the ball and I'm ready to go because I don't have a heck of a lot to report on. April 27th, I was at the regular council meeting here at City Hall. And then a week later, on May the 4th, I attended the special council meeting here at City Hall for the budget, as well as the planning and priorities meeting at City Hall later on that evening. And just want to remind everybody, it's happening tomorrow. It's short notice, but we've got the big State of the City address happening in conjunction with the Parkland Chambers luncheon happening tomorrow at the Watson Arts Center. So really looking forward to that. And that ends my report.
Thank you very much. We're going to do the spinorama here. And Councillor Ray, are you ready?
Thank you, Mayor Boziak. On the 27th was our last regular council meeting. April 29th, I met with Lori Bicklemeyer at DFC to discuss issues and options arising from the reduction in hours at the Safe Warm Space. April 29th in the morning, I attended the Rec Committee meeting, followed by a meeting with the Biosphere Group at City Hall. On May 1st, I helped make smile cookies at Tim's in the morning and was at City Hall later that day for a band committee meeting. I'd just like to thank everyone that contributed to the Smile Cookie campaign, helping the city regain its #1 status in sales and raise over $59,000 for the cinema. May 4th, I attended the special city financial plan public meeting and the planning and priorities meeting that followed. On the 6th, Councillor Daly and I met with Amanda Novak and Tammy Chief at the DNRC to discuss the situation involving Safe Warm Space. And on the 7th, I helped out at the spring cleanup organized by the Sharps Committee, and I would like to thank all the volunteers that showed up for that event and the city for providing hot chocolate and pastries, as well as the DRC crew for helping to remove all the garbage bags that were collected. And that concludes my report.
Thanks very much. We're going to go to Jake next, the student report.
Recently, my ELA class published a school newspaper that features several articles from participating students, and one topic mentioned in the paper was exams. And since our previous assignment was completed, the class is now ready to prepare for exam season, which is coming up very shortly. And that'll conclude my report.
That's it? Exams? That's all you guys are worried about right now is
Yeah.
exams?
It's all in my mind.
Okay, well, good for you, because I used to worry about exams the day before the exam, but that's, yeah, never mind. Who's next? How about, is Councillor Sobering ready?
I was born ready. Such confidence. I didn't help at Smile Cookie campaign, but I ate enough of them to push that that #1 award. I was at the regular meeting on the 27th and following up with the next meeting on the 4th with the special council meeting and the planning priorities meeting. I met with my counterpart on the Riverside Cemetery Board, Tammy Kuszowski, and we went through a budget. We're building a columbarium, and we're just working on the details now of how we're going to fund the project, and it's getting very close. And we're planning on a hopefully spring, summer start. And following that, I had economic development meeting. No economic development meeting. That's next week. So that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Sobering. Where is the little wheel going to stop now? Councillor Bellemare has her light on.
Well, you gave me the eye there, so I thought my turn was next here. Okay, so April 29th, I attended the Riverside Board meeting, and on the 4th, the special financial meeting and planning and priorities meeting. On the 6th, I attended a quarterly meeting, the RPC, which I'm not quite sure what it stands for. They changed the initials, but it's Parkland Settlement Services, and it's with regards to current immigration supports and issues, and also took part in the community cleanup that Councillor Ray mentioned. And of course, tomorrow, as mentioned, Mayor Boziak is preparing his big speech, so I'm looking forward to that. Also, Chip and Soil Day is coming up on May 23rd at the Horse Barn, so drop on by for free soil, and there should be some donated plants. And the 30th is a community-wide yard-wide sale, and apparently over 110 yard sales have already been registered. So I'd like to thank everyone who picked up garbage in the downtown area on Thursday afternoon, and thank you to the Sharps Committee for organizing it. Wow, it's amazing what you find besides regular garbage, like there were great socks and unbelievable underwear and all kinds of stuff. Anyways, and thank you to city staff who are doing cleanup around the city, the street sweepers out and other equipment. It's lovely to get that winter grime all cleaned up. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. We'll go to Councillor Staccato left and leave the best for last, Councillor Daly. No offense to any other councillor, but he's waiting patiently.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. For myself, 27th council meeting, and then the 4th, on April 4th, the couple of meetings here that were at City Hall that have been mentioned before. And that's about it for me for the past couple of weeks. So short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. April 27th, regular council meeting. April 29th at 10 a.m. Biosphere meeting right here. 11:30, I met with Sam Murray from Manitoba Housing to talk about security and homelessness downtown area and talk about the project over there for security and the updates. And things are going pretty well at the high rise. Then at 6, Fieldhouse Study Group met here with Councillor Ray, His Worship the Mayor, and City Manager Griffiths, and a strong group of 9 other people involved, interested in studying how a field house would work and how we're going to do that. May 4th, again, financial plan presentation here at City Hall, followed by a planning priorities meeting at 5:30. May 6th, with Councillor Ray, met at DNRC again, security and homelessness. May 7th, the Harm Reduction Day community cleanup. Trudy and I picked up some interesting stuff along the railway tracks. Some of it was fairly heavy. We had to leave it behind and pick it up on the way back. Yeah, interesting, the stuff that you find out there. On May 8th, Councillor Ray and I met with a business owner and talked about a potential building that we might be able to use to replace the warm, safe space during the day. It was just a conversation of potential, and we'll continue to follow up with that. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I said the best for last, but I'm last, so yeah, no. No, just a couple of the things that were mentioned by a couple of the members of council. I know that several of you participated in the Riding Mountain Biosphere review meeting that was held. Just to give you some background, UNESCO that designates the Riding Mountain as a biosphere reserve area has a 10-year annual review process. So there was a couple of other biosphere members from one person from Quebec, from Montreal, and a fellow from Saskatoon were in town as part of their 3.5-day review of the biosphere reserve area. And we were singled out as being the largest urban municipality in the Riding Mountain Biosphere and the most supportive urban community. And with the projects that we're engaged in, and apparently the support that we provided to the Biosphere Reserve, of note was the tree planting project last year at Vermilion Sportsplex, which the final phase of it is happening in the next week or two. I know there's been some emails and activities circulating around about needing some volunteers, so that's just a heads up. That over the next week or two, we'll be putting a call out to people to finish the planting at the Vermilion Sportsplex. There's at least 5,000 trees and seedlings that have to be put in there to finish that project. And then a subsequent project at the on the Edwards Creek, very near the water treatment plant, very adjacent to the Northgate Trail system, to stabilize the bank, plant some native trees and shrubs to help with erosion. So again, those two projects were funded almost entirely by external grants through the Canadian Nature Conservancy and the Biosphere Reserve Group itself. But the support that that organization has received from the city over the last couple of years, I think is exemplary, and it was duly noted by the folks that were touring around. So we're being held in fairly high esteem by the group, and I trust and hope that the biosphere gets its designation and it remains the UNESCO biosphere site for another 10-year period. So that's kind of interesting, and it was interesting. I had a conversation with Ryan Vanderhayden afterwards, and he's been on the periphery of this in the sense of he doesn't go to the biosphere meetings or attend the biosphere meetings. I know Councillor Bellemare sometimes pinch hits for me and she attends, but just the information that was shared by a couple of the members of the biosphere committee, and especially the fellow from Kelwood, who's a bit of a naturalist, and just the explanation. We did a walkthrough at Vermilion Park with the tree planting project, and then walked part of the trail system, and we looked at the river, and as it's circling, eddying and eating away the banks in a couple of areas, and where the banks are protected in other spots. So our involvement with them, I think, has been very beneficial for them and hopefully for us. So that was interesting just to be involved with that process last week. And I know Councillor Sobering and I as well as Clayton Swanton of the Northgate Group, are heading to Brandon this week on Thursday to attend the State of the Province address. The Premier will be in Brandon. We've made it an annual excursion the last couple of years to be there and just thank the province for all the support that they provide to us. And so that is happening on the 14th, as is the presentation by Clayton Swanton and Alec Mann at Obsolete Brewery at 7 o'clock on the Riding Mountain Trail plan. So anybody that's interested to find out the details about what's happening on Crawford Creek Trail and what the plan is for that project, that will be made public as much as can be made public. It's still in the concept phase, but that'll happening on Thursday night. Thursday night, 7 o'clock. And then that's also my anniversary. So I'm like, yeah, lots of stuff happening on the 14th, and it's Moosehide Day, right? That's right. All right, with that, I'll call for the question. All in favor of accepting council reports? And that motion is carried, and we will recess the front part of the meeting at